What's up, crew? I am a couple minutes late, like 20 minutes late. I apologize. What it do, all my crew? Let's get set up over here. Tonight, I want to encourage you. This is going to be my last live of the year. My last live of 2023. So you guys join me. Come join in. You guys come join me. I'm setting up. Let's see. You guys drop down below where you are from so I can see you guys tuning in. Let me get Instagram in over here. And we will be good to go. Sweetness, are you trying to join me tonight? Come on. What's up, Insta? What's up, Facebook? We're doing a giveaway tonight, y'all. We're doing a giveaway tonight. So if you're wanting to win something, my very first 35-day devotional workbook. It takes you through the dirt of your life. I just published this last month. I am giving away a copy of my 35-day devotional and workbook. It goes perfectly with the new year, y'all. So how you can win this is by following me and sharing this. So if you want to win a copy of this, I'm going to announce the winner tomorrow. So I'll put all of the names in a electronic raffle that it like literally picks it up. I'm so sorry, y'all. I dropped you on the floor. I threw you on the floor. I threw Facebook on the floor. Can y'all hear me still? Because that just totally went crazy. So if you're wanting to win a copy of the new devotional workbook to sort through your dirt and grab a hold of your destiny, you guys are laughing at me, the beginning of this year, then follow me and share. And I'm going to look at everybody that's followed and shared. I'm going to put your names in. And tomorrow I will do a video of me actually pushing the button so you know I didn't cheat. And I'm going to send a message to the lucky winner and get this to you the beginning of the year. And it's going to be awesome. I see my crew is in the house. And I see you guys sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I see the crew is in the house. And they have gotten, I've had a lot of people order this. And they're already sending me in testimonies of how this has totally changed the game for them. How this has just helped them sort through some really hard life stuff that they have been struggling with. And that was my hope and desire. You guys know I'm a writer. And my books are always written out of my journals. And so one of the things that I really teach hard on with my crew especially is how to journal. And it doesn't have to be difficult, y'all, but how to journal in order to really see results. And so I have included that in this book. So follow and share. And tomorrow I will look at all of that and I will get it set up, and a lucky person is going to get a copy of my book. I'm going to sign it for you. And I'm also going to include in it Brandon's music card, which has all 8 of his albums on it. So you can pop the worship on and you can go through your book and just set atmosphere in your life, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about presence. So you'll get the book, you'll get all 8 of Brandon's albums, and all you have to do is follow and share. So you guys share, tag somebody down below. This is going to be a really, really good message. Tonight's the last live that I'm doing in 2023. And then I'll see you guys next year. But I had something that the Lord placed on my heart this morning. And I really wanted to just share my heart with you concerning the presence of God. So you guys type down below where you're tuning in from. I want to see, thank you for the shares. I see you guys clicking that down below. You guys type down below where you're tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? I want to see who's all in here. I'm so excited you guys are here with me and sharing this moment. Our very last live of 2023. Y'all, some of us didn't know we can make it a whole year. Cheers. We're raising a glass. Oh my gosh. Okay, Ohio, Maryland, Kentucky, Georgia, Jessup, Douglas. You guys, all my Georgia folks are in the house. Whoop. Whoop. I love it. Okay, so this right here is bomb. We went to a little restaurant. I'm here in a little town with my mom and dad's house, okay? It's one of my hometowns, okay? But we went to an Amish bakery, and this is raisin bread, and oh my gosh, it's iced, and it's like the bomb.com. South Dakota, Virginia, Canada. Christy's in my crew. We've got Canadians in the crew too. I love it. Virginia, on vacation from Texas, but you're in Florida. Whoop, whoop. Sheila, I just seen that was you. Yay. I'm happy that you are enjoying Florida. So you went from one beach to another. You went from Rockport Beach to Florida Beach. You guys, I'm just stuffing my fat face right now. This is so good. And then I promise you we're fixing to get into it. I'm just trying to give a second to let people's Instagram and Facebook notify them that we're live. Do you guys have any like good New Year's plans? You have any New Year's plans going on? I think that me and my aunt are going to go party hard. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go eat Mexican food. We're going to go watch the new Wonka movie. And I know she does. I'm probably going to give her a bite. You guys don't hate on me. For those of you who don't feed your dogs anything. She sat here so patiently. We're going to watch the new Wonka movie, and then we're going to go bowling. And that's my New Year's plans, because I got to keep myself distracted this New Year's because I'm alone. As far as alone, I mean, I don't have my husband. I don't have my kids. So, Connecticut's in the house. Spending New Year's with both your kids in 5 grands. Whoop, whoop. It does sound fun, right? I wish I could invite all of y'all. Come to movies, dinner, and bowling with me for New Year's. I don't have like a New Year's service to go to this year, which is weird because usually I'm in church for New Year's service, and this is like the first year that I'm not. But that's okay. I'm like, you know what? Let's just do something fun. Girl night sleepover with fun games. That's awesome. I love that. So you guys, I want to encourage you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a part of my life. Before I get going and encourage you tonight, I just want to really, honest to God, just say how grateful I am for all of y'all. 2023 has by far been, thank you. This is my mom's coffee mug. Squirrel, sorry. Not that most people care, but I'm a coffee mug person, so I always like it. Pizza party for New Year's. That's awesome. 2023 has been by far the hardest year of my life. And you guys have been my family. Like, my social media people, my crew, you guys are my family. And I have tried to keep everybody in the loop with my life, even after Brandon has been gone. For those who have followed me before Brandon, you knew that I did this thing before Brandon ever came into my life. I was live all the time. That's how I found Brandon. I was live on Periscope, and he was live on Periscope, and he found me on Periscope, and I found him, right? And then we got together, and our followings meshed together, and we did life with y'all, and we fought cancer together, and we did all of the things, and now that he's gone, you guys have still hung in there with me. And I want to say that I love you guys so much. Like, you're my family. You're my family. And like, of all the times that I've thought, I'm just going to throw my phone away. I'm going to deactivate my accounts. I'm just going to go off the grid. I think of y'all because I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that to my family. I'm going to be leaving all of my family and all my crew, and I just can't. So I want you to know how much I love you. how much you have meant to us, how much you have meant to me and my girls, the prayers, the support, the partnering with our ministry, the booking us and having us come and speak into your people and hold conferences and do concerts and worship services and Bible studies and all of the things that you've allowed us to do. Like, we love y'all. We love doing kingdom with y'all. We love doing life with y'all. And there's fireworks going off, so my dog is freaking out. So that's why she's up here. Anybody else's dog have anxiety from fireworks or thunderstorms? Like, so funny. Anyway, so I love you guys so much, and I hope to continue doing life with you in 2024. And I say that because I'm going to continue showing up, but I hope that you will continue to be along for the ride. I hope that you will continue to tune in. I hope that the ministry that God's placed on my heart and my life, that it would continue to encourage you in your life, that it would continue to uplift you in your journey. I hope to partner with more of you and come do conferences and worship services and all of the things. You guys reach out to me. I am booking out 2024. I am on the road. So you guys, this is what I do. This is what I do. So just let me know. Message me for details and let's get it on the books. I'd love to see you guys and hug your necks. But tonight, I want to encourage you. I'm sorry. I'm clapping and scaring you all over again. I'm sorry. So tonight, I want to encourage you. Hit that share button. Remember, if you share and follow me, you have a chance to win my 35-day devotional workbook that I just published last month to help you sort through the dirt of your life heading into 2024. But also you're going to get Brandon's download card for all 8 of his albums, and you can pop those worship albums on and sort through your life with this workbook, and it's going to be a blessing to you. So do that, and tomorrow I will announce the winner. I want to jump in. Are y'all ready? If you're ready, give me a heart party. I don't know how long we'll be on. I think not last night. The night before we were on here almost 2 hours. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I mean, it was good stuff. So I'm just saying, if you didn't watch the replay, go watch the replay. It was good stuff. I totally preached to myself. Oh, thank you so much, Tracy. And listen, we've got more of those coming. We took a little bit of a break. She's been in a weird healing season. You guys pray for her. She led worship and everything with me and Brandon, and without her daddy here, she's been struggling. Be praying for her, but we're going to have some more of those worship videos, me and Rory, coming soon. Okay. So I want to read, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to give you the highlights. Okay. Exodus 4, 1-4. Exodus 4, 1-4. My crew knows what's up. So you guys type down below the notes, the highlights, the recaps down below so people can kind of see that. Exodus 4, 1-4. So, okay. We see a story of Moses. We see a story of Moses, and homeboy had a rough life. Okay, homeboy had a rough life, and maybe you feel that way this year. Maybe 2023 has been like, you didn't even know how you were going to get through this year. You didn't even know how you were going to come out on the other side. Like, you didn't even know if you would make it to the end of 2023, and baby, you are here. We got like, a couple of days until 2024, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. But Moses was literally fought from the time that he was born. If you can feel him on that, I want you to give me a heart party. If you feel like it's been an attack since the day you were born, like homeboy literally was attacked from the day he was born. He had a hit out on his life, right? Like, he was supposed to die. They were killing all of the Hebrew boys, and he was supposed to die. And so it was like, as soon as he came out the womb, homeboy was struggling. And some of y'all feel that way, and some of y'all have had rough lives. I see the heart party, so look at that. Many of y'all feel like it's been my whole life. Like this fight hasn't just been now. It hasn't just been a season. It hasn't just been a couple months. It hasn't been a couple years. Like it's been my whole life. And so from the time he was born, he literally was supposed to die. Before he ever had a chance to even just like do anything, he began to be fought. And so his sister and his mom, they came up with this plan. They put him in a bassinet or whatever you want to call it, a basket, and they sent him down the water in hopes to save him, right? And the very man that literally ordered for all of the Hebrew boys to be killed, his daughter was bathing in the water and came across this little baby boy and decided, I'm going to save this little baby boy and I'm going to raise him right here in the palace, right here where the order went forth for them to die. Right? Well, ended up, you know the story. If you know the story, give me a heart party. You know the story. He went on and he was raised in this luxury life, but it was not with his people. And he saw his people. He knew he was different. He knew, right? He knew. And he seen his people getting beat, and they were slaves, and they were told when they could eat, when they could sleep, what they could do, what they couldn't do, how they could do it. And they were being killed. And he lost his mind. He was like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And he ended up killing one of the people that were over the slaves because he seen them kill and beat too many of his people. And he ended up running for his life. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting somewhere tonight, so don't tune out. He ended up, I'm praying for you, Tina. Hey, Ashley. So he ended up running for his life and ended up out in the wilderness, y'all, and spent his whole life for a season out in the wilderness. And out in the wilderness, the word talks about him having a burning bush experience. And this is what I want to encourage you with tonight. Some of y'all have not only been fought from the time that you've been born, it feels like, but you've been on the run and you've been hiding out. And you feel like you've been left and forgotten out in a wilderness. Okay? And I know what it feels like to feel hidden. I know what it feels like to feel like you've got so much purpose and so many things on the inside of you that you have to offer, but you have been hidden. You have been stuck on the backside of nowhere. You've been forgotten. You're out in this wilderness watching some sheep, right? Like doing something that you never wanted to do. It was not the game plan, right? And it says that he saw a burning bush, but he turned towards it. Hey, Kamisha. He turned towards it. What I find interesting here in the word is that obviously, because you're out in the wilderness, burning bushes were not necessarily uncommon, okay? Because it wasn't the fact that he saw the burning bush that surprised him. It was the fact that he saw the burning bush was not burning up that surprised him. In other words, he's seen the burning bushes before, but this one was different, okay? And when he looked at this burning bush, he began to encounter God. And the presence of God met him in a moment that he chose to turn and see something from a different perspective. Some of y'all going into this new season, I need you to hear me so much. Like turn, what I used to tell my kids, turn your listening ears on. Have you guys ever said that to your kids? I need you to turn your listening ears on. And I am like legit right now. You need to turn your listening ears on right now. Some of y'all have been in the wilderness season for so long that nothing around you seems... It doesn't seem special as far as like what God is doing in your life. You feel like you've been hidden. You feel like you've been forgotten. You see moments, but nothing is spectacular, right? And going into this new season, okay, and I get it. New Year's, new resolutions, your words that you're looking for one word to focus on for the year. Guys, I have been telling my crew, instead of focusing all of the things that you're going to do, we are going to focus on today. We're not going to focus on the 5-year plan, the whole year plan. We're not going to focus on the 6-month plan. We're going to focus on today's plan. Okay? So going into 2024, you're not going into it stressed out about what all the plan looks like and what it look, and I don't know, and blah, blah, blah. No, you're not stressing out about it. You're focusing on today. Because God's not waiting for a tomorrow version. We talked about this the other night. He's waiting on your today version for you to say, I'm showing up. And so how you do that is by looking at the season with a different perspective. With a different perspective. He saw the burning bush. He's seen burning bushes, but he's seen it wasn't burning up. Maybe instead of looking at the thing that's burning in your life, you should be focusing on the fact that you're not burning up. So yeah, it's fallen apart. So yeah, it's hard. So yeah, it's been rough. So yeah, this thing does not look like you thought it would look like at the end of 2023. We got 3 days left. We're wrapping up the year and it is not everything you thought it would be. So yeah, it's burning up, but you're not burning up. Well, listen, I feel like I'm burning up. Well, you may feel like you're burning up, but baby, you're still here. You still got breath in your lungs. You've still got something to offer. Your heart is still beating. As long as that thing is still beating, you've still got something to give. Do you hear what I'm saying today? Come on, somebody. Do you hear me? So it may feel like, okay, it's all burning up, but you're not. And Moses looked at that bush and he said, hey, that's a burning bush. I've seen them before, but it's not burning up. And that is when the presence of God met him. When he recognized that it's not burning up is when the presence of God met him. Maybe in your season right now, I need you to tune in. I need you to share it. I need you to tag somebody. I need you to listen to me. Maybe the reason why you have not been feeling God in your life, the presence, the manifested presence of your life. Because listen, we know God is everywhere. We know God is omnipresent. He is everywhere, but the manifested presence of God is not everywhere. The manifested presence of God comes into places where he is being pursued. Come on, somebody. Come on. I'm teaching you something good tonight. So maybe you're not feeling the manifested presence of, you've been praying for some answers. You've been praying for some breakthroughs. You've been praying for something different. You've been praying for the answers. You've been praying, but you're not feeling it because you're not recognizing the fact that you're not burning up. Your focus is on the burning thing. Y'all ain't hearing me tonight. Your focus has been on the burning thing, not on the fact that you're not burning up. Y'all, I could run around this room. It is when you recognize you're not burning up. That is when the presence of God comes and meets you where you're at. Because your perspective and your focus is shifting. As long as you focus on the thing that's burning, you will continue to be broken. As long as you continue to focus on the thing that is burning, you will continue to be burdened. Okay? It is when you focus on the other side of the perspective. I talked to my crew today, baby. If you ain't in the crew, you need to be in the crew because we are going into some things. We're diving into some things, okay? We're diving into some things. I see some people catching what I'm throwing down tonight. I hope you are. But here's the deal. Like, I talk to them about perception is everything. Like, what you perceive, you will believe. What you perceive, you will believe. Guys, I'm on a rhyming thing. I don't know what it is tonight. I caught some kind of rhyming spirit. All my crew down there saying you need to join us. What you perceive, you will believe. And so if you're perceiving that everything is burning up, you're going to sit in the burden of that. You're going to sit in the brokenness of that. But when you perceive, okay, it's all burning up, but I'm still here. Okay, it's all falling to pieces, but God is still standing beside me. Okay, I may feel all alone, but anointing is being derived right now. Like, okay, there's a storm, there's an opportunity right now, there's a storm, but God. but God. He is right here in the middle of it. That is when the manifested presence of God comes and meets you in that moment, because your perception of the thing is allowing him to show up. Y'all ain't hearing me tonight. I'm preaching to if I ain't preaching to nobody else, I'm preaching to myself. So when I look at the story of Moses, and I see that it's not the burning bush that he was caught off by. Like he's seen the burning bushes. It was the fact that he focused on the fact the burning bush was not burning up. That's when the presence of God met him. And then it goes on to say, okay, we're just going to keep on rolling with this. So when you understand what you perceive, you believe. When you understand, when my focus is on the thing that's burning, I become burdened. But when I focus on the fact that I'm still standing despite the burning in my life, Jesus will meet me here. The presence of God will meet me here. And then what happens? And then what happens when you begin to look at it differently? And then what happens when you begin to see it differently? Okay, this is what happens. Moses literally noticed it's not burning up, and the presence of God met him and began to lay out the purpose for his life.
Sorry,
No, shut up. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to my people. She gets mouthy sometimes. So he began to have like a whole plan laid out for him. Okay? Some of y'all aren't hearing the plan, and you're not hearing the purpose because you are not focusing on what God is doing. You're focusing on what the enemy's trying to steal. And when you begin to shift your perception and you focus on what God is doing rather than what the enemy is trying to steal, that's when God can come in and give you a plan, baby. So many times we're wanting a plan, but our perception is not right. See, God can't, have you ever, okay, let's just raise a glass to this. Have you ever tried to talk to somebody that was depressed? And you ain't going to get through to them, baby, because they're depressed. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you say, how you encourage them. You could give them the best word, but they ain't hearing you because their perception. They ain't receiving it because their perception. They're not listening because their perception. I hope I'm speaking to you. It's talking to a wall. It's literally talking to a wall. So it's the same with the Lord. He's not going to give you a laid out plan when he knows that your perception ain't ready to hear the promise that he has for you. When he knows that your perception is jacked up, he knows he ain't going to waste time spilling out all of his plan and purpose. Instead, he is going to gently guide and nudge you and try to lead you to where you need to be so that you can receive the thing that he is going to do, right? So it wasn't until Moses changed his perception that God began to lay out the plan. When he changed his perception, God said, okay, I got your attention now. I got your attention now. You're no longer focusing on the wilderness. You're no longer focusing on being hidden out here. You're no longer focusing on the burning bush. You're focusing on me. So now that I got your attention, now that you finally turned away, some of y'all, listen, coming into this new year, you've got to turn away from some things, baby. You've got to turn away from some mindsets. You've got to turn away from some heart postures. You've got to turn away from some friends. You got to turn away from some bad habits, okay? You got to turn away from some cycles. You got to turn away from it. And when you turn away, God's going to be like, okay, now I can lay it out. Hello. Okay, because I'm preaching to myself right now. That's why I'm dancing. I want to run around this house because I needed this word tonight. So I'm hoping that somebody else needs this word tonight. I needed it. Oh, Jesus. So when you turn away and you change your perception, what you perceive is what you will believe. If you feel like it's all falling apart, you are going to fall apart. But when you know that God has got you, boo-boo, he's got you. He's got you. That's when you begin to trust in a different light. So he laid the plan out for Moses. But listen to this. Even in doing so, even in God laying the plan out for Moses said, because God told him, yo, you're going to go and totally deliver a whole generation of slaves. You know that generation that you were trying to stand up for and you ended up murdering a homie over there and you ran for your life over here in the wilderness. You've been in hideout over here, after, watching after some sheep. I'm sending you back. You going back and you're going to deliver all of them out. Some of y'all been hiding from a lot of things in your life, but what's going to happen when God calls you back? Not to be a part of it, but to deliver them out of it. And some of y'all are like, I can't go back because they know my past. They know how many people I've been hooked up with. They know how many times I've been married. They know how many baby mamas I have, how many baby daddies I had. They know the drugs that I was a part of. I can't go back. They would laugh at me. Listen to what Moses said to him. Listen to what Moses said to him. Moses said, what if they don't believe me or take me seriously? One translation said, what if they don't believe me or take me seriously? This is found in Exodus 4, 1-4. Go check me and correct me if you need to, okay? He said, what if they don't believe me or take me seriously? And God said to him, see, he wasn't the only one that had the same thought process. Like, I can't go back. They know me. They know what I've done. They know me. Like, I can't do this. But God, y'all. But God. Okay? God said, this is his response. What's in your hand? That is my question to you. We got a handful of days left before 2023 wraps up. My question to you is, what is in your hand? What's in your hand? What's in your hand? Okay, let me just break this down for you because this is so good. It was a staff, y'all. A staff. A staff. Okay? And God said to him, throw it on the ground. He threw that staff on the ground and that staff became a snake. It became a snake. And what God was showing him is that the thing that you've had in your hand all your life is the thing that's going to deliver the people out. He was showing him this dead thing, this stick. It doesn't look powerful. It doesn't look like it's got anything to offer you, baby. It is a dead thing. But when it's used, because I tell you to use it, the dead thing becomes a dangerous thing. The dead thing becomes a dangerous thing. I don't think you're hearing me tonight. When you do what God said to do and you take what's in your hand and you use it because God said to use it, the dead thing will become the dangerous thing. A stick became a snake, y'all. Some of y'all been looking at the things that you have to offer, the things that are in your hand, and you're saying, what if they don't believe me? What if they don't take me seriously? I can't go back and show them who God is in my life. This thing is dead. This thing ain't nothing. And God's like, watch me use it. Watch me use it. That dead thing in your life will become a dangerous thing. It's going to be the very thing that is going to be the answer for other people to be delivered out of the bondage they've been in for years. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. I'm so glad you tuned in too. You guys share this. You guys tag somebody down below that you know needs this tonight. So many times we question the thing because it doesn't look as exciting as we thought it should look. But God don't need you to make it something. He don't need you to make it make sense. He don't need you to add to it. He don't need you to try to figure it out. He just needs you to obey. God said, take that thing in your hand, that dead thing, and throw it on the ground. It became a snake. That dead thing became dangerous. And this is what I want you to see tonight. The staff, okay? That staff, it wasn't just a dead thing. It wasn't just a stick, okay? Back in those days, when you go back and you study history, when you go back and you study how that culture did things, okay, you see that when they became of age, meaning they understood, they were accountable, okay? When they could be accountable for things. They were gifted a staff and they were gifted a knife. They were gifted a staff and they were gifted a knife. And they were told of the God that they serve. I need you to hear me. Okay, I need you to hear me real well right now. I need you to tune in right now. Don't flip off. Don't scroll away. You need to hear this. They were given a staff and a knife when they were held accountable. And they can understand things at a clear understanding, right? And they were told stories of their God, and they were told every time God does something for you, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how crazy, no matter how insignificant, every time something happens that you know was God, you take this knife and you take this dead thing and you mark it. You put a mark on it to remember the thing that God has done. To remember that God has done it. So all throughout their life, they are marking their staff up with memories of what God has done in their life. Every little thing, every big thing, every minute thing, every significant thing. And they carry it around. It may look dead, but baby, it's marked up with the promise of God. It may look dead to you, but it has promise in it for me, because it shows every single time I was depressed, laid up in that bed, wanting to take my life, but God came into the room and told me, Alyssa, you have purpose. Every single time I thought it was falling apart, but God ended up standing me back up on my feet and giving me strength even when I felt like I had nothing left in me to give. This thing may look dead to you, but it's dangerous to me. Because it's marked up with the memory of what God has done in my life, baby. It may not look significant to you, but without this right here, I wouldn't continue going. See, because of this thing, I'm able to sit in the wilderness and be confident that my God is still God. I'm able to sit in my loneliness and be confident that my God is still God. I can sit in the isolation and the rejection and know that God is still God, because I have a dead thing in my hand, but it is marked with promise. Every time they took that staff and they marked that wood with that knife, showing God showed up again. He done showed up again. He done showed up again. So when you look at it from that perspective, Moses said to God, what if they don't believe me? You're going to send me back there to deliver all of them. They know me. They know my history. They know my past. What if they don't believe me? What if they don't take me seriously? And God said, what is that in your hand? In other words, he's saying, Moses, recall all of the times that I came through to you. Recall all of the times that I showed up. It's in your hand. It's in your hand. Everything that I've done is in your hand. Recall it. Recall it. Coming into this new season, friend, I am asking you today, not only what is in your hand, but what have you seen God do? You could be sitting in the worst position of your life right now. Ask me how I know. Because I've been there. Because I've done it. I'm still there. Okay? But even sitting in grief after losing my husband, even sitting in my bed after cutting off body parts from cancer, even sitting in my chemo chair, being infused with poison, even watching my husband of 10 years walk out on me, every time I was able to say, yeah, this thing looks dead, baby. This thing looks awful. This thing looks horrible. This thing shouldn't happen to no one. Like, I wouldn't even wish it on my worst enemy. But what's in my hand is the promise of God. Every time he's continued to keep me, every time he's continued to show himself faithful, I can stand on his faithfulness because I've recalled and I've remembered all of the times that he showed up. I admonish you to sit down and write it out. Recall it, baby. Like, ask the Lord. Can I just tell you something right now? When I went through chemo, it took my memory from me. 6 months of chemo took my memory from me. I started having short-term memory loss. I could not remember a year ago, different places that we would go minister. We would go back and they would be like, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd have this full conversation. I'd be like, it's so nice to meet you. And they're like, oh no, we did dinner with you last year. You remember that? We went out to dinner with you. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't remember that. I literally have lost my memory because of chemo. And I'm so sorry about that. You know what I ended up having to do? I sat down with my journal and I laid hands on my mind and I prayed, Father, restore what has been lost. Restore my memories. Restore my memories in Jesus' name. I want to remember. I want to remember the ministry that's been done. I want to remember the people that's been touched. I want to remember the times I played with my kids. I want to remember the laughs that I've had with my husband. Like, I want to remember. And God said, get a notebook out, because I'm going to start sending you some memories and you're going to write them down. You're going to write them down. Every time I send you a memory, you're going to write. Sometimes I was riding down the road, sitting in the passenger seat, and the Lord would remind me of something. I'd get my notepad out on my phone and sign it out, write it out. This is what I'm telling you to do. When God says to do something and you're like, what if they don't believe me? What if they don't take me seriously? I can't do this. And God's like, what have I given you in your hand? If you're sitting right here right now and you're saying, well, I don't really see where God has came through. I don't really know what he's done. I don't really know what. And you need to sit down and lay hands on your head, and you need to get a notepad out, and you need to ask the Lord, bring it back to my remembrance. Help me recall what you have done in my life. Help me remember the goodness of who you are. Bring back to memory the times that I have prayed and you have showed up. I may not be able to remember it, but I'm going to document it. Send it to my mind so I can document it. And then when you document it, you keep those documentations. And when you're having your bad days and God is asking you to do something and you're too scared to let the dead thing become the dangerous thing, you take those pages out and you begin to read over them and recall and bring it back to memory the God that you serve. Friend, this is what we've lost in life. You want me to tell you something that is super duper important. Back in the day, they used to sit around the dinner table and they used to talk about what God had done for their family. They used to recall the breakthroughs, the miracles, the financial breakthroughs. They used to recall the goodness of God as a family. We have lost that. So we've got a whole generation of people that don't do nothing with their family but sit around and blab, sit around and complain, sit around and murmur, sit around and talk about how busted and disgusted their life is. That when we sit and we try to recall what God has done, we can't really grab anything of substance, because all we do is sit and look at the thing that's burning instead of looking at the thing that, hey, it may be burning, but I'm not burning up. We got to do better at recalling. We got to do better at teaching our kids the things that God has done, not only for us, but for grandma and for great grandma and for great great grandma, and how this one had this happen and that one had that happen. And my cousin had a drug addiction, but God, and my other one, he was losing his mind, but God. You know, we got to start sharing these stories with our kids, because when they come up and they grow up and they need to know God for themselves, they need something to grab a hold of. They need these stories. That's why I say your story is not just for you. And as long as we look at it as it's just me, I ain't nobody, you're going to miss a whole opportunity to sow into the next generation that could trickle into generations that you'll never see. Your story right now, as you share the goodness of God with your children and the ones in your life, it is going to be stories that are shared with generations that you may never meet. The goodness of Brandon Holt's life, my husband, the stories that I will tell our grandkids that he will never meet, but he has a part in that. When you understand what you perceive, you believe, you will start looking at it differently. You'll start seeing it may be burning, but I'm not burning up. This thing may look dead, but it's dangerous when God says to use it. Right? Going into this new season, you've got to understand, and I don't care what season you're in, because listen, if it's all right in your life, if you're like, listen, this is the best season I've ever had, I'm living my best life right now, hold on to that. Write down all of those things. that you're experiencing right now, because you're going to need them in the next season. Because you ain't going to stay in a perfect season forever, because we do not live in a perfect world. We do not live in a perfect world. So you may be living your best life right now. How are you stewarding that? How are you documenting it? How are you writing it down so you can recall it when you get to another season that's challenging? Do you hear me? Because when you get to be challenged, you've got to have something to grab a hold of that's going to strengthen you enough to get you back up so you can keep going. This next season, no matter what it looks like for your life, you've got to understand that possession always requires preparation. So if you're going to possess the promise that God has for you, you've got to prepare for it. Moses was met by a burning bush. He changed his perception. God laid out the plan, and he still tried to argue with God and said, but what if they don't? What if they don't believe me? What if they don't receive me? And God said, take what's in your hand, that dead thing, and watch me make it dangerous. It became a snake. It became the thing that he held over the sea, the Red Sea, and watched it part in front of him and made a way out, right? That dead thing became the dangerous thing. But the thing is that he was taking them to the promised land. But in order to possess the promise, preparation was required. And so anytime God is bringing you into promise, friend, he is going to prepare you. He is going to give you a guideline of preparation. You have got to understand that your preparation is your responsibility. This is where it's hard, because we don't want to take responsibility. And I've talked to you guys about this. Preparation is hard because it means you have to be responsible with the thing that God is placing in your hand. You're responsible with the thing God is placing in your hand. And so possession always requires preparation. So in coming into this next season, if you are not having much of an answer, you need to ask the Lord, how can I prepare? How can I eliminate unnecessary playtime so that God can put in my life necessary preparation time? What are some things that I've been using and I'm playing a whole lot, but I'm not preparing enough? God, what can I eliminate out of my life so that I can steward my preparation better? I'm responsible for that. The promise that he has given you, friend, it is yours. It is done. It is yours. The reason why we don't see enough people possessing it is because we don't see enough people preparing for it. They just want it to magically fall in their lap. It doesn't work like that. Promise does not just fall in your lap out of nowhere. It is an expectation. I just talked to my crew tonight. We just ended our intercession series. We've been talking on intercession for several months now. And one of the things that I talk to them about is the fact that when you're a watchman, when you're an intercessor, you are disciplined in that intercession. It is a disciplinary thing. It is a disciplinary thing. And so when God says, this is the promise for your life, or hey, I'm giving you a whole book of promises right here, and this is what I say you can have in your life. These things don't just happen magically. God is not a psychic. And that prophet that came to you is not a psychic. What that is telling you what's available. Now the question is, are you going to receive it? What are you going to do to receive it? Right? Because so many times we expect the promise to just be a magical thing that happens, and then when it doesn't happen, we go off and we talk bad about how God doesn't listen to us, God must hate us, God done forgot about us, that prophet was a false prophet, and we've taken zero responsibility for our part, friend. Possessing the promise always requires preparation. Possession requires preparation. So if you want the promise, you got to do something. I find it interesting how going into the promised land, he didn't just magically transport them from slavery to the promised land. He put them on a process. He put them on a process. They had to take a trip of faith. They had to move in faith. And a trip that should have just been a couple of days ended up being 40 years because they didn't even know how to do it right. Their mind was stuck in slavery. Their mouth was stuck in murmuring. And because of that, they ended up cycling for 40 years when it should have just been a handful of days. The promise was theirs, but they had to go on a process to get there. And their ability to steward that process was how long it took them to get where they needed to go. So the promise is yours, but you got to steward that process to get there. And how long it takes you to possess that thing is going to be dependent on what you do with it. It's going to be dependent upon how you did this thing, how you stewarded it, how you kept your mouth right, how you kept your thoughts right, how you believed what you perceived, what you're focusing on. Are you focusing on the thing that's burning up, or are you focusing on the presence of God in the midst of that? Are you focusing on the dead thing, or are you focused on the fact that he can make that thing dangerous? Right? God prepares. This is interesting to me. When I started looking at this story this morning, God spoke to me and he said, Alyssa, I prepare the promise for the people, not for a person. I'm going to say that again because somebody didn't hear me. I prepare the promise for the people, not for a person. See, when Moses was taking them into the promised land, it was for a people, not just for Moses, the person. And so many times we misunderstand, okay? The fact that we think the promise is for us. It's bigger than you, boo-boo. It's bigger than you. It's not just about you. The promise is not even about you, the person. It's about a people that you will affect, a people that you will allow God to use you for, a people that is going to be delivered out of something because you as a person stewarded the promise and the process to get there well and prepared. Come on, somebody. I'm fixing to start running around this place. I hope you're getting this. I hope you're getting it. I hope you're sharing it with somebody. I hope you're tagging somebody down below, because this is going to help someone in your newsfeed break through. Your story is not about you. Your promise is not about you as a person. It's about a people that God has called you to. Well, God's called me to somebody? Nah. Yes. 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 He has anointed you for a people. He has anointed you for a people. And you will never know how far your reach is until you stretch out your hand. You will never know what you can do until you first try. You'll never know how many will hear you and receive from you until you begin to believe and perceive differently. I'm helping somebody tonight. God prepares promise for a people. He said, be strong and courageous, for I am with you. Be strong and courageous, for I am with you. It's not about doing it in your own will, your own way, your own power, your own presence. Some of y'all been trying to make yourself something on the... Listen, can I tell you what? It is more, let's see. It is easier for a stupid video that ain't encouraging no one, that ain't helping nobody grow, that ain't challenging anybody's spirituality or faith to go viral than for something like this to go viral. And this right here is going to be life-changing for people. But instead, it's a video of a cat that fell off of a fan and all of a sudden it's got 10 million views. Right? And so my point is, when you're up on here trying to make it make sense, make it work for you, and you're doing it in your own power, it's not going to work. I mean, Chewbacca lady went viral just from laughing at a mask. She was trying to just be funny and it just happened. Right? And then you got people over here trying really hard and it ain't working. And my point to you is, instead of trying to focus on all of the stupid petty things, why don't you just allow God to be God in your life and let him use your story the way that he needs to use his story, your story, for his glory, right? Who cares if it's 10 million and who cares if it's 10? If it's one person that is getting changed by the story that you give, then God has done something good. Period. Period. I told the Lord, I don't care if I'm preaching to 5 people or 5,000 people. I'm going to preach how I preach. I'm going to do it like I do it. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to share what God has asked me to share. And I'm going to leave it in God's hands. And he will elevate what he wants to elevate. And he will do what he needs to do. We have got to start giving our thing to God and allow him to pave the way for the process that needs to be prepared. But we've got to be willing to walk it out. Okay? We have to be willing to walk it out. He said, be strong and courageous, for I am with you. But what happens next depends on his presence. See, Moses, when he saw the burning bush, he had to change his perception. He had to hear the plan. Then he had to realize the dead thing in his hand was actually the dangerous thing. But then he had to understand that what happens next requires, watch this. What is happening right now? Fireworks are going on, I guess, because I did this or something. Oh, I did this? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, he had to understand that what happened next to get the Israelites into the promised land would require God's presence. So let me just take the load off of you. Okay, you ready for this? What happens next in your story is not dependent on you, the person. It's dependent on his presence in your life. What happens next is not dependent on some of y'all over here trying to figure it all out. You're like, well, what if I don't make the deadline? What if I don't get the opportunity? What if the raise never happens? What if I don't ever see myself elevated in my career? What if I never see the vision take place? What if that dream never becomes a real reality? What if the desire is just always a desire and you're trying to figure it all out? But God's over here telling you, what happens next doesn't depend on you. It depends on my presence. As long as you see, the Israelites had to stay in God's presence to get to the promised land. They had to follow the cloud by day and the fire by night. When they saw the cloud moving, they packed up and they moved because they knew in order to get to the promise, I have to stay in the presence, baby. If they're laying asleep and somebody calls out, yo, the fire's moving, you better get up, babies. You got to get up. They're getting their children. They're getting dressed. They're packing up. The fire's moving. I got to stay in the presence. What happens next is not dependent on me, the person. I got to stay in the presence if I want to get to the promise. What happens next is not up to how you can do it. It's not up to what you look like. It's not up to what you can do in and of yourself. Now, granted, staying in the presence of God, the manifested presence of God, right? Where you hear him and you know him, that takes relationship, by the way, will change you. So if you're in the presence of God and you ain't changing, then that's a whole nother situation, a whole nother sermon that we got to talk about, okay? That's a whole nother, because the Holy Spirit will change you. The presence of God will change you. You can't be in the presence of God and it not change you. Yes, this will be recorded. It will be on my page after this is done. You can watch the replay. So tag your friends and share it. So the Holy Spirit will change you. I am not for this whole message where you can be walking with the Lord and in his favor and in his blessing, but still live your life the way you want to live it. Y'all would be surprised how many of the big time people that y'all follow aren't even who they say they are. Me and Brandon sat in many green rooms with people and many stages with people that we had much respect for and walked away with zero respect because we learned a lot of things about their life that we were not in favor for because it was not God. When you truly are in the presence of God, it will change you as a person. It will put you on a path of a process that's going to get you to the promise, but you know what happens next in order to get to that promise. It may be a process, baby, but if I steward this process well, it does not have to take me. God will redeem the time that has been lost. Some of y'all been sitting in some cycles. You've been repeating some things, and God is saying, if you would just steward this process well, if you would change the way you perceive things so you can believe it differently, if you would just shift the way that you are talking and the way that you are thinking, if you would just stay in my presence, you'd get to that promise quicker. You'd get to it quicker. It ain't about you, it's about him. It ain't about you making a way, it's about him already having a way made. I'm praying for you, Maureen, in Jesus' name. It's on God to bring the promise in your life. It's on you to stay in his presence. So the promise coming to pass is fully on him. But the responsibility to steward his presence is fully on you. So the thing happening, you can count on him to do it. But can he count on you to stick with him? Can he count on you to move with him, baby? He doesn't make beds in valleys. He moves through them. If you've been making beds in valleys and you're ticked off at him because you're not in the promised land, don't get mad at him because he's a God that is on the move. He's a God that's on the move. And we think that we can just sit and wait on him. Wait on the Lord. And no, he's like, I'm moving. What are you doing? I'm moving. And you're just sitting here waiting on me? You got to get up and you got to move. You got to do something. You got to steward the process. You got to get on your feet. You got to believe. You got to stand in faith. When you've done all to stand, you got to keep on standing. When you don't know how to fight, you got to get in this word and find out what he says about it. Guys, I'm preaching to you from a whole 3 years, 3.5 years of fighting. I was telling a friend of mine last night, I said, I'm tired of fighting. I'm just ready for me to have a season where I can take the gloves off and put them down for a bit and just be happy and have a season of just freedom and joy. I was talking to another friend and she said, you know, when I read that your husband died, I was on the way home from work. And she said, I had to pull over and literally cry on the side of the road. Because she said, the first thing I thought was, this was the love of her life after she went through divorce. And she said, and then I thought, then they went through cancer. And then they went through cancer a second time. And now she's lost her husband. Why her? And she said, Alyssa, you've been through so much transition in 6.5 years. And I said, I know it. Well, really, it's been seven, almost 8 years. In 8 years, it's been a consistent one thing after another. But can I tell you something? Even in the fight, God has been faithful. Even in the hill, he's always shown that his hand is stronger than the thing that I'm going through. Can I tell you that in the last 8 years, I have had to learn to steward the process in a way that brings forth promise. And it's not because it's been easy, because guys, it has been the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life. The hardest thing. But that's why I'm getting on here and I'm helping somebody out tonight. Okay? If you hear me, hold on to it and apply it to your life. It is on God to bring the promise. It is on you to stay in his presence. You're not the one that has to produce the promise on your own. It is not your job to produce the promise. Okay? It is your job to steward the presence. How do you steward the presence? You sit with him. You spend time with him. You prioritize his word. You worship him. Listen, anointing is going to cost you some sacrifice. I talked to you guys about this the other night. You don't get the things that you want just by doing what you want to do. If you want a six-pack, you got to do some work. If you want a degree, you got to do some work. If you want some babies, you got to do some work. You got to do work in every area of your life, and it's not any different spiritually, y'all. The process is yours to steward, and you have to do it by remaining in his presence. Anytime you get out of the presence of God, you're putting yourself in a position to fumble the promise. Do you hear me? It's a big deal. Stewarding the presence of God is such a big deal. We don't prioritize it. We don't prioritize it because we're too busy prioritizing the presence of depression and the presence of anxiety and the presence of our fears and the presence of our doubts and the presence of our question marks, that we don't even know that there is a God because we're so consumed with all of the things that are consuming us. The promise is yours. There is a process to get to it, but will you stay in his presence? The Israelites had to stay in his presence. They had to stay in the presence to get to where they were going. So, I hope you were encouraged tonight. We've been on here a little over an hour. My prayer for you as we end this is the last live of the year. And then my hope is to be live with you Monday night, 9 p.m. You guys let me know, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or early morning. You guys comment down below. Late night, early morning. You can give me a moon emoji, a sun emoji, or just say late night or early morning. I'm going to be going live a whole lot more. So just be on the lookout. But my encouragement for you tonight is to understand that you have been anointed and your story is so needed. Your story is so needed. It's so needed. We need your story. And the dead thing that you're looking at that you think God can't use is actually the dangerous thing that's been placed in your hand. So my question that I started out with at the very beginning that I'm going to throw back your way again. What is in your hand? What is in your hand? What is it that you have in your hand that you can offer? What is it that you have in your hand that you can offer? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be something that you trust God with. Okay? I love you, friends, so much. Father, I thank you for everyone that is watching this, everybody who's going to tune into the replay, Lord. I thank you that your hand is on them. I thank you that 2024 may not be a year that is full of zero challenges or hardships, but it is a year that they can choose to steward the process well. It is a year that they can choose to remain in your presence. God, I thank you that your hand is on them, that you've appointed and anointed them for a reason and a season because they are still here. So if they're here, that means that you have a plan, you have something on their life that is going to bring forth promise and potential and purpose. And so, Father, I thank you that they would change the way they perceive things. so that they can believe it differently. I thank you, Lord, that they walk with you differently, they talk differently, they think differently. God, I thank you that they shift it all, that the game would change because they are choosing to embrace 2024 differently. That it is not going to be perfect because it's all perfect, but it is going to be promised because they stay in your presence. And we just give you praise for it in Jesus' name. Guys, if you are blessed tonight and you don't follow me, I want you to hit the follow button. I want you to share this with somebody. Listen, I'm giving away one of my books. I published this book last month. It's a 35-day devotional workbook to help you go through the dirt in your life to grab a hold of destiny. And this is going to help you shift it for 2024. I am giving a copy of this away, as well as my husband's download card for 8 albums of his worship music, gospel worship music. And so I'm going to give this away tomorrow. All you have to do is hit the share button and I will let you know if you are the lucky winner. Tomorrow I will post a video to show everybody who has won the music and the book. I hope it blesses you. I'm going to sign it for you. And if you want a copy of this, even want a copy of my book, Unfiltered, or my 35-day devotional, or the music, guys, we have so much stuff over on the website. We have piano lessons. We have worship hub videos where we have taken and we have created 13 sets, worship sets, 20-minute worship sets, 13 of them for churches that don't have worship leaders and need something other than canned music to lead worship. We've made it intimate. We've made it to where you can put it on your screen and we literally talk to your congregation like we're in the room with you. We have those available for those people that need that help. Like I said, piano lessons, music, we've got books, we've got resources. I have journaling sheets over there to help you with your journaling, your Bible study. I've got all kinds of stuff on my website. It's right there below, alyssaholt.com. On Instagram. It's in my bio. You can go check it out. And guys, if you want to book me to get me in your church for conferences, Bible study, whatever, worship, whatever you need me for, hook me up. I would love to come and partner with your ministry. And I'm on the road in 2024, so get me on your books. I'm already starting to fill up. So you guys can reach out to me, message me, or go to my website and click the booking tab for that. And if you want to partner with my ministry and this blessed you tonight and you're like, dang, I really see the goodness of God. I hear her. It pierced my heart. This is good ground to sow into. You can partner or sow a seed into this ministry. This is what I do full time by going to my website, alyssaholt.com. And I'm praying blessings over you for that. We give a portion of everything that comes into the ministry. We give to widows, single parents, and cancer patients. And so you're helping us do the kingdom work. And we just love you, love you, love you, love you for it. And also, if you want to be a part of my mentorship crew, we are together every day and do this right here. Every day we do this together. So you guys could be a part of that. It's a private community. You have access to every single teaching series that we've ever done in the crew. Once you join, you can go binge watch all of them. I give you guys free resources all the time, worksheets, study sheets, all kinds of stuff to help you dive into your relationship with God. When you join the crew, you have access to every study sheet, resource sheet we've ever done, and every teaching series we've done. And then the community is just amazing. You can get 50% off of your first month, 50% off of your first month subscription by using the code hashtag new and the letter B. New and the letter B, newbie, hashtag newbie, and you can get 50% off of your first month subscription to the crew and see what it's like over there. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you guys next year. I love y'all. Bye, Instagram. Bye, Facebook. Love y'all.